Here we are again. Hi, Gerardo.
How's it going?
Pretty good. Uh, we've decided to have another chat about, well, in this case, we want to talk about all the fears and pain points entrepreneurs have in their
Which
business.
is which is
Which,
lots of them, right? So it's like could be could be a week long video. So
yeah,
get
let's
ready.
try not to make it a week-long video. But so, I think a lot of stuff has come up well, because of COVID and all the stuff that's happened with it. I mean, I know people whose life has been devastated not by COVID, but by the lack of networking opportunities. You know, I know people, you probably do too, that go to 5 or 6 networking opportunities every week, be it a breakfast at a board of trade or something at a club or whatever. Rotary is one of them. Anything like that it was just put on hold, and I wonder, a lot of people suffered from from, from lack of people, if you will. You know, how did you manage?
Oh, networking. Well, I still have a hard time. That's one of the things that I have a really hard time. Well, before COVID, right? Doing, but for me, COVID was like, well, it made me work more because I know we're talking about the lone, what is it called? The lone wolf syndrome.
Yeah, the lone wolf syndrome. That's that's
And
that that's what explain that. That's the entrepreneur who is afraid to give up any aspect of his business because he thinks he can do it better.
also, this is a different one then.
Well,
It kind of goes into it, right?
well, it that kind of entrepreneur is is found in a whole bunch of different scenarios. But I have a friend who is trying to run this company. For 12 years, he's been running this company, and he's doing really well. But he could be doing a lot better if he had a manager, a parts person, an assistant, maybe a receptionist. But he's doing it all himself. So you call him up,
Hmm.
and if you get him, you're lucky. And if you do get him, it's on his cell phone because he's delivering parts or something stupid when he should be in his office. I mean, it's a store,
Hmm.
3,000 square foot store. How can you close it down to go deliver a battery? That doesn't
Right.
make any sense. Anyway,
Hmm.
that's just one aspect of the lone wolf syndrome. But in your case, I don't think you're one of those guys who likes to network anyway, do you?
Well, networking has always been difficult for me because I've never really understood the process. Like you read a whole bunch of books and or you watch a lot of videos, for example, on YouTube on how to do it, right?
Yeah.
But then it's very different when you actually do it yourself because it's like you're not those people from the book. You're not those people from the video. You're your own self, right?
Mm.
So what I learned to do is kind of look up who I am and not be fake. You know, if I have my own quirks or whatever in front of people, then that's who I am, and I don't have to pretend that I'm somebody else, right? If people don't like it, then that's their problem. It's not really mine. So I had to work around that idea, right? Because you're always because it's new. It's if you've never done it, it's new, right? And if you've done it and you had bad experiences, then you have to work from what you learn. So that's what I've I find that it's much easier now when I don't try to pretend that I'm this big business owner, and I just go there and see what other people have to say and what I can share with them, right? And be some sort of a connector or something like that. If I know somebody that could help them, for example, then I can talk about that person, for example, something like, oh, I have a friend that does this thing that you're having issues with or whatever, right? Or that you do that you might be interested in meeting, right? Or something like that. So that having that, knowing that I have my own quirks and I have to pretend that I'm somebody else, right? And knowing that the whole purpose of meeting people together is to sort of get to know them, right? Because they're in the same boat that I am. That's a good thing to know, right? And see if I can help them with other people that I have met, maybe not in that particular networking event, but somewhere, some other networking event, right?
Well,
So that's how I kind of overcame that. Yeah.
you actually issued a pearl of wisdom there, believe it or not.
No, thank
Darcy
you.
Darcy Rezac, the former head of the Vancouver Board of Trade, once said that when you're networking, it's not what you can get out of the other person you're talking to. It's about what you can share with them to help their business, because then it'll come back to you in different ways.
Right.
When I go to the Burnaby Board of Trade, which is a local chamber of commerce here, you're bombarded by life insurance agents
Right.
and it's just not the right kind of networking that I like.
Because people they go there with the idea of getting clients, right?
Right.
They don't go there with the purpose of becoming friends
That's right.
or long-term partners in some way, right? And that, I think that is why a lot of people have bad experiences with networking, because you go there and you feel like you're in a car lot, right? And you got this guy trying to sell you this car that you don't even want because you're just bored and you just walked in there because you just want to browse around, and right.
Yeah,
So it's
exactly.
like it's like yeah.
In my first book, I described networking as a game and a challenge, and a thing you should only go to networking meetings with two people. The old Top Gun thing, a man has your back.
Yeah, the wingman.
I remember talking to this nuclear physicist for 15 minutes, and he was so boring, but I couldn't get a word in, and I couldn't get out of it. So I went to my buddy and I said, look, when I do this, it means for you to come over and save me, and I'll do the same for you.
Uh-huh.
But that's just a trick of the trade. And
Uh-huh.
I'm like you. I go to a networking meeting because I feel like I should, or I'm invited, or I'm supposed to give a talk or give away a book or something. But
Uh-huh.
I get there and I'm a wallflower. I feel like I'm at a school dance.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah,
it's worse in the morning
mm-hmm.
because at night I can have a drink because it's usually at a cocktail party or something.
Right.
But
But yeah, you're right. It's very difficult if you don't. It's when you don't know what to do, right? Like if you, one of the things that I've done in the past is like I set myself a goal, right? If I talk to two people, then I can leave, right? If I feel great, right, and those two conversations, for example, they lift me up and they boost up my self-esteem or self-confidence on the whole social dynamics, then I'll stay and I'll talk to another two people, for example, right? And then that's how I build up. I build on the good things that are happening. But if the two experiences that I had at the beginning were not that good, and I don't feel good staying there, then I'll leave. I met my goal. I met my quota, and I can leave. You're not forced to be there and have the drinks or anything like that, right?
yeah. I mean, I find that if some people stay too long, they're not effective anyway because they don't remember where they are.
Exactly. So,
But
yeah, and go with the purpose of meeting acquaintances. Go to the purpose with meeting friends, right? That are in the same boat as you are, right? And that makes
yeah,
it much easier. Yeah.
a lot of people say you should walk out of there with 19 to 20 business cards. And
Okay.
I find that, I can't get to know somebody in a minute and a half. So I might walk out with 6 of them. And I've got to the point now, if I find if they're interesting, I'll stick around and we'll find mutual things to talk about. But
Hmm.
if I meet a CPA or something, I'm not going to have anything interesting to talk to them about.
Right. Exactly. And it's and again, going back to being an introvert, right? We talked about this yesterday. It's like it's not that we're shy of people. It's just like sometimes the conversation just is not It's not how we communicate, and it's
Yeah,
like
I
you
mean,
have to work extra harder.
I know an expert networker. He makes money. He's a insurance agent, and you know, he can talk to them about anything, and people like him.
Hmm.
And then when he goes home, he gives all of his business cards to his assistant, and she sets up appointments for him to see the people that he talked to. Which is, you know, I can't do that kind of stuff. But if I developed a relationship, I'm going to call the guy up in a week or two and say, hey, good to see you that day. Let's have a coffee tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah, because you don't want pushy people on your. I mean, you met them at the network, and all of a sudden, the next day they're on the phone with you
Yeah.
for another half an hour trying to sell you some insurance or something.
Anyway, the good
Right?
thing is I think networking has changed forever because of COVID, and um, I'm quite happy with Zoom calls because I can switch my picture off, go have a pee or make myself a coffee, and and
Okay.
then just,
Yeah.
you know, maybe work on something else and listen.
Right. Right.
That leads me to another conversation is
Yeah.
the lack of engagement people have. You know, I was talking to a woman the other day, and I don't know how old she is, maybe 60, and I said, yeah, I'm having this event, and I was thinking, you know, you're the one of the go-to people in town, and I wondered what you thought about it. She says, well, you're talking to the wrong person. I hate those things. I don't get anything out of a networking event, so I don't engage. It's like I don't need it. I don't want it. That's for younger people. Now, that's nice if you got all the work in the world, but the bottom line is you're not trying to find work, but you learn something about yourself when you talk about your business.
Right.
Like I remember going to a networking meeting before COVID, and people say, well, what do you do? Well, I don't know. And it sounds like a stupid question, but I didn't know whether to say, well, I'm a university professor, or I'm a management consultant, or I'm a business writer, or I'm a videographer. It was embarrassing. I said, what do you,
Yeah.
I switched it and said, what do you do? And then when I find out what they did, then I could adapt. And I said, well, yeah, I'm a management consultant.
Hmm.
I mean, it
Hmm.
sounds so ridiculous.
No, and you're right. Like I have that same issue because I have like several different small things that I'm doing at the same time, right? And when
Yeah,
people ask me that question, like what kind of work you do, and in my community, for example, everybody is like it's like a carpenter or a construction worker or a janitorial service person, right? And I'm not.
yeah.
That's what everybody in our community goes after, right? But since I do a whole bunch of little things, I have a hard time saying, okay, well, it's hard. It's
Well,
hard. So what I've done now, if it's summer, I say I help foreign farm workers send money back home. That's what I do. I do money transfers for them, right? And then I help them out with any questions that they have about Canada and the culture here and things like that, right? So, but that, not a lot of people understand what that is, right? Because then I have to go in like, what do you mean, like all of this stuff, right? But that's actually really good though, because then you start talking, you got them interesting, right? About what it is that people want to know. But yeah, knowing what to say when they ask you um, what you do, it's definitely a good thing.
well, the worst one is when you say, well, you know, yeah, I've got this company. Oh, I should drop by your office. Well, I don't have an office, and I really work for Shoppers Drug Mart, but this is my side business. So
Hmm.
anyway, how I get around the question of what do you do is I say, what day is it?
Okay.
And people laugh, and I say, well, you know, on Tuesdays I'm a professor, on Wednesdays I'm a management consultant, on Thursdays I write,
Mhm.
and you know, it's a big joke, and they all laugh and say, well, yeah, I do that too.
There you go.
So
Yeah.
lack of engagement. So I've been having some events lately, and nobody shows up, and I'm surprised because I thought post COVID people would want to get out of the house, but I think people are more content just to sit on their back patio working.
No, their
and not
values
bothering to go
got
anywhere.
reorganized. Their values got reorganized when COVID hits, right? So they
It's
started to see what's more important, right? Do I really want to be in the office for like 12 hours, or do I really want to hang out with my kids and my wife or husband, right?
yeah.
So they're like, this feels more natural, right? And we were 2 years away from the office, so why can't we keep doing this, right? So kind of thing.
Well, it's been proven that if employee works from home, it saves the company 20% in cost for that employee.
Hmm.
Um, anyway, that
If
leads me to isolation. A lot of people, like you and I, both love working from home. Uh, I don't really like working anywhere else. I end up in an office that has PCs instead of my lovable Mac. So half the day I'm spent trying to figure out the computer system.
Hey, I got a PC.
Yeah, well,
You look
what
really
if you
nice
went
on
into
it.
an office that had Macs?
Okay, well then I'd be like, oh,
But
yeah.
it's people are used to working at home, and like you say, um, my wife is retired, so I like to spend time with her. And if I'm home and I'm in an office at the end of the house, I'm home. I'm still home, right? But
Mhm.
a lot of people, you know, um, they got kids, they got dogs, they got a wife who comes in every 5 minutes and says, "Do you want a coffee? What do you think? What do you want for supper tonight?" Uh, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
They're isolated and they miss that office camaraderie. The chat around the water cooler, if there is such a thing anymore, and working to a schedule. And it's like I watch my wife work, and a bomb could go off in her office and she wouldn't notice it because she's so laser focused on what she does. Me, I'm good for like an hour, then I have to get up
Yeah.
into my living room, grab a guitar, play a tune for
Yeah.
for 10
Yeah.
minutes, make
Yeah.
myself a coffee, come back, work another hour and a half or two,
Mhm.
then go outside and pick some strawberries. I mean, it's like, who knows? But you and I don't
Well,
stop. We don't start work at 9 o'clock, and we don't stop at 5, do we? I mean, you're working from home, and it's like you get up when you get up, you stop when you go to bed. Your camera stalled.
that's right. Yeah. Can you hear me? Hear me?
Yeah, but your
Hello?
camera's stalled. There it is. It's back.
Yeah, it's back. You went Terminator on me for like 10 seconds,
Ah,
almost 30 seconds. But it's okay. So yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying, because I'm exactly like I have almost the same pattern as you have. Like I work for an hour, maybe an hour and a half, two, and then I just go to the other room. I have this uh, punching bag just across the street. Yeah, no, and I go there for like 10 minutes. I just punch everything that is going through my mind at the moment, right? And then when I come back, I come back with fresh ideas. So it's like it's a pattern interrupt, they call it, right? You
yeah.
interrupt the pattern, you go over there, and you come with fresh brain juices, to keep going for another hour or two or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I think people like you and me have a fear of things getting back to normal. Because to be
Well, it
honest,
wasn't there. I'll tell you, for me, it wasn't that normal. Okay. I didn't have an
yeah.
office to go to.
Well,
It's like I had an office right from the get-go, right from we met you, right when we met each other, right? It's like,
yeah, that's an interesting story. How did you meet me?
well, I remember that I was looking to get into business because I've been doing research on how to do business and stuff like that. And what prompted me to do that is that I got so many jobs because I started working since I was 12. Like I was my parents actually around the age of 10, they put me in this auto shop or mechanical shop, right? And then I learned how to do a lot of stuff for fixing cars and things like that. But I like working. But when I got to like my 20s, I had so many jobs, from being a mechanic, from being a junkyard person, from a roofer to construction to janitorial to gas. The list can go on. I have like 100 jobs that I did, right? I always ask myself, like, is this what I want to do for the next 40 years? Right? And the answer never came. It's like I knew it wasn't, because the reason why I was asking it, because it was like I didn't like what I was doing.
Yeah.
So and I started asking key questions, like, how do the rich get rich? Like, how do they actually buy these buildings? How is it that they buy, or they have a business? And the once you ask the questions, the answers show up for some reason. Somewhere you get a book, you get a video, you get an article, and then that takes you even further, right? So that's how I landed in your office. I went home. I went back to my home country for about 6 months, and I took a whole bunch of books. And when I came back, I wanted to do it, right? And that's I landed on your office. But before I landed in your office, I actually checked out at other places, right? And
No.
everybody, yeah, I did.
Yeah, but
I
tell
went
people
to,
what. Well,
yeah,
just
yeah.
for people don't know, I ran a business incubator for
Business
10
incubator,
years.
that's correct. Yeah.
We ran 950 people like Gerardo through our program, and there was at the time there was a 15% success rate of businesses after 1 year. So after 1 year, only 15% were still in business. Our success rate was 94% after 2 years.
And I think I had to do a lot with you, because the process of how you got me in the course was so different than the other places that I went to, right? Like, they wanted me to have like a made up, like a business plan from like, what's your mission, what's your vision, what's your
Yeah,
your projections, your financials, and all that stuff. And I'm like, hey, that's why I want to go
that's
to this course, so I
that's
can
why
know
you
all this
need it.
stuff, right?
That's why you need it.
Exactly, right? And I said that to you, remember?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
And then I
No,
said,
we
and
had
then
a no, we had an incredible team of people there that worked with me, and we all felt the same way, that you're there to learn on how to do all that stuff. Not
right.
the other guys were doing it. They had the same mandate. They just had different ways of looking at it.
That's right. And for someone coming in into an environment like that doesn't know anything, like, when you say something, what are your financials? That means nothing to you. That
Well,
means absolutely nothing. It's
I'll
like,
explain the difference, Gerardo.
okay, there you go.
The difference between what I was doing, what the other guys were doing, with the same mandate, the same financing, was I was an entrepreneur and they weren't.
I see. Yeah.
Somebody told them, well, this is what an entrepreneur needs, and I knew what an entrepreneur needed,
Hmm.
and that's why you're here with me today. You're successful. If you gained anything from our incubator, it was tenacity.
Yeah. No, don't give up. It's like I went in there not giving up. I knew I was gonna make it, and I did. And now, I mean, I still have the business that I opened up when I was at your course. I still have it. I'm not focusing on it too much, because my passion now has moved me to other places where I feel like I'm more needed. But I have people actually doing the work for me. So it's like,
Well,
it's
that's
a,
you've become the entrepreneur.
yeah, exactly. That was the goal, and it, throughout this whole process, right?
You know,
And
yeah. Well, Michael Gerber believes that in every businessman, woman, there are three people: the technician who does all the work, and that's what we were talking about, the guy who doesn't hire anybody;
mhm,
the manager; and the entrepreneur. And when you can
right,
get to the point where you can replace yourself as a technician and then move up and replace yourself as the manager, that's when you become the dreamer again, the guy who, in the very first place, thought that you could put a company together. Now you can actually look at it and say, my God, it's working. And that's what you're
right,
doing. You did
hmm,
a turnkey operation because you did it right.
right, yeah, yeah. it was a great experience. How long has it been now? It's like 15 years ago or
Holy
12
moly.
years ago or something like that.
Oh, it's gotta be 15.
15,
I'm
eh?
gonna look it up next time we talk. I'll look.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a long time. Yeah.
But
And we've been friends ever since. So it's
yeah,
like, yeah, that's cool.
but getting back to networking, one of the things I'm not gonna miss is having coffees and lunches with idiots. You know, for all those people who have had a coffee with me, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're the idiot I'm talking about. But I've
That's
certainly
what I was
wasted.
thinking. Well, we had
Yeah,
our fair share of coffees. I don't know, where do I
but
fit in there?
we've certainly both wasted a lot of our time.
Mm,
I was visiting Toronto one time, and I called up an old university buddy I hadn't seen in many, many years, and he said, "I'd like to talk to you about some business. When you're here, drop in." Now in Vancouver, if I call up Gerardo and I got an idea, I'll say, "Yeah, we should get together for a coffee," and he'll say, "Yeah, well, maybe in a week or two," and we'll forget, and it'll be 3 weeks maybe, or a glass of tequila or something like that. So I get to
mm.
Toronto with my wife, and he meets us at a coffee shop, and I start to ask him about his family, and he said, "Wait a minute, I want to talk about the business opportunity first, and then tomorrow I want you to get back to me with a proposal, and I want to start it when you get back from holidays next Monday." Really? So we talked for 20 minutes, got all the business out of the way, and then he said, "So, how are you guys doing? Let's have a drink, lunch." That's how they do it in Toronto. And
Hmm.
anywhere else, it's like if you say, I'll call you, I'll get back to you in a week or so," they'll say, "When are you going to get back to me? Let's decide right now when you're going to get back to me." Because in Vancouver, it's like, well,
It's a
it's
little
like,
bit more laid back. Yeah.
we sit on the beach with the fireplace going and
Yeah.
t-shirts and a ball cap.
Mm,
We don't wear suits.
yeah.
Wow, things are changing, man. And uh,
I mean, there's nothing wrong with the being with that sort of culture, right? I mean, if you get used to it, right? But if you're coming from another area that doesn't work like that, then it feels odd,
well,
right?
it's very frustrating for. I mean, like try doing business in China. If you fly to China for a business meeting, you don't talk business the first meeting. They just want to get to know you. Then they'll schedule another 2 or 3 meetings, and bit by bit it'll come out. That's the way it is.
Wow. Hmm. I didn't
And
know that.
and in Mexico, don't interrupt somebody between 12 and 3, isn't it?
Yeah, 12 and 2.
Oh,
Yeah,
12 and 2.
yeah, because they're all passed out somewhere. Yeah.
Siestas. Siestas. Hey, culture, man.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised that a lot of immigrants look to you for advice on what to do, because this is a different every country's a different way of has a different way of doing things. And that's a pain point for a lot of companies, like I'd like to move to Arizona maybe. It's one of those crazy dreams I have, but I know nothing about Arizona. Do they talk Spanish there? I don't know.
I'm pretty sure they do. They speak Spanish all over the place. It's like
That means I can dump my French, my Chinese, but what I'm saying is, the entrepreneur faces so many challenges and pain points. What we're talking about today is just a couple of them. Isolation,
Mhm.
lack of engagement,
Absolutely, yeah.
fear. You
And
like the word
and
fear.
and to let everybody know that it's not like we just went through some of the the issues that I've gone through and share some of the techniques that I've developed on my own to overcome those things, right? And I'm hoping that what we're talking about here can resonate and other people can identify that it's not them. They're not weird, right? They're just out of practice or they've never done it before, right? So yeah, so talking about these things, it's definitely really good.
So do you think we should call it a day?
Let's call it a day.
Well,
Okay.
you're watching Bizzo on Business, and my good friend Gerardo Lopez, and I'm Gary Bizzo. And please like and subscribe, and we're going to do more of these. Stay tuned.
All right. Let us know what you guys think about it. All right.
Comments.
Bye. Bye bye.